Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink with a rather punny, sort of potty humor, I guess, kind of card. This is the new Giggles and stamp set. It's literally what it's called, by CZ Design. Simon Says Stamp just had their Beautiful Days release earlier today, later today, depending on what time zone you're at, all the things. I'll have links, like I always do. When I opened this release, the stamp set was sitting, I think, right on top, and it made me laugh. I had to create with it. I got a kick out of it. So I am stamping the little images with Simon's Intense Black ink onto pieces of Simon's 120-pound smooth white cardstock. And then I'm going to use some of my Spectrum Noir TriBlends to color them in. These are alcohol-based markers. I have done several videos over the last couple months using these markers, and I have a playlist with other videos I've done coloring with these markers. And recently, I just got my hands on the second brush tip set. There was one original set, and then there is a second brush tip set that has more blends and some extended blends, etc. And I just got them in the last week, something like that. So a couple of these markers are from that set. So again, I'll have links with all the supplies. The coloring was very simple. Like, I just kind of went with the ice blue blend for the little toilet paper, and of course I used the pale pink blend to give them little cheeks. And then, side note, I forgot to color the inner portion of the toilet paper roll. I did that completely after the fact, after the photos, all the things, because I was sitting here looking at it and I was like, oh yeah. So then for these for the little poops, I did earth brown extend colors. And with all the Spectrum Noir TriBlends, it's 3 shades in one marker. That is genuinely what I've been really enjoying about these. Just the convenience factor of it. I for that alone, I am loving it, or loving the markers. I just don't have to think very much. Still love my Copics. Do not regret my Copics. Always will love my Copics. But these I've been quite enjoying. So I did the same thing, gave them little pink cheeks, because why not? Honestly, I can't even keep a straight face with this card. Like, really, it's humorous. I love it. So after I was done coloring, I used the coordinating little wafer dies to die cut them out. And I pulled out the interactive toilet wafer die set. This came out a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago, something like that. It's still available. As I was like mentally making this card, because that's what I do. I just kind of build it in my head before I actually like start doing things. I was like, wait a minute, I've got the perfect little die set to go with this. And when this die set came out, there's another one. It was interactive, like toilet paper or something like that. Actually, I have it sitting here. Toilet paper slider. I did a slimline video using that one. Again, a couple years ago. I'll link to it at the end of this video, because, you know, the whole situation with the craziness and people hoarding toilet paper. Can you, like, how are we going to explain this to people? You know, my brain is like, yep. Crazy times, man. Anyway, I'm very glad I had this little wafer die set, because it's cute and it was perfect. Super simple to assemble. And I used that same ice blue blend marker to color in the inside. I die cut a little tiny scrap of Simon's matte silver cardstock for the little handle. And then I just use craft tacky glue to assemble. As you can see, it just comes together. Super, super simple. Super adorable. So I've got like my main elements here. And then for my background, I have a piece of Simon's Sea Glass cardstock. And then this is the new Bold Geometrics Stencil. I love this stencil. I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this one. I went really simple for this specific card, but oh, the colors, pastes, all the things. Anyway, I just used one of my Picket Fence paper pouncers and 2 shades of aqua ink, the lighter one being Seafoam of Simon's Positively Saturated Ink. And then I'm going to add Surf, which is just, a little bit darker. And it's going to like be darker at the bottom and kind of fade up to the lighter. And again, just keeping it soft. This is just going to be just a simple background. I just thought this stencil pattern, it kind of made me think of like bathroom tile. And then I was like, ooh, these would be really pretty bathroom tiles. So anyway, pounds the color on. And once that was done, I'm going to use just a rectangle wafer die to cut this out to be slightly smaller than what my A2 card base will be. So speaking of the card base, I'm going to use the stencil on the inside of the card as well. I taped it into place this time just because I can be really... I had kids running in and out of here. The dog, he had the zoomies and all the things. It was just chaos, as it always is. So I pounced just the Seafoam ink. So just really light. I wanted it soft on the inside, not super vibrant, anything. Just gives that little bit of color, the little bit of pattern. And then I'm going to stamp like the main sentiment from this stamp set. This just... Again, it cracked me out. And the funny, like, I've seen the sentiment many times before, but having it in stamp form, I'm like, yep, this is, I'm glad. Like, Kathy Zielski's sense of humor, very similar to mine. A little bit twisted, punny, sarcastic, all the things. Love it. We need more stamp sets like this. I love it. So I inked it up with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, stamped that onto the inside of the card. And then I'm going to add one of my little images, just ties it all together. So I adhered that into place with craft tacky glue. And and then I'm going to heat emboss the little oh crap sentiment. So I'm just using another scrap of smooth white cardstock, and I used my anti-static powder tool on it. And then I stamped the sentiment with clear embossing ink. And then I heat embossed it with Simon's silver embossing powder. So coated that with the silver embossing powder. I'm going to melt that with my heat tool. When it's all smooth and melted, I am going to die cut that with the coordinating wafer die. So I'm going to tape that into place with my washi tape so it doesn't move when I run that through my die cut machine. So now everything's die cut, colored, assembled, ready to go. It's time to just assemble this card front. So the back of this panel that I had stenciled and die cut, I used Simon's Big Mama foam tape. So I'm going to get a little bit of dimension, but not a ton of bulk, because Big Mama foam tape, it's the roll itself that is the Big Mama. Because if you've never got a roll of this stuff, it is enormous. Enormous. Love it. But the foam tape itself is actually quite thin. It is about half as thick as your standard foam tape, and that's why I use it so much. You guys have been seeing me use this stuff for years. I love it. Anyway, I put that in the back of the panel. I also used it on the back of the little toilet die cut. And then the little characters, I just used little foam squares to pop those into place along with the sentiment. So I've created my little scene. And I can't stop giggling because once my kids see this set, they're going to love it. Like, yep. Anyway, got everything adhered. And then I'm going to adhere this to my card base. So fold over my card base, reinforce that with my Teflon bone folder. Like I said, this is an A2 size card, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to peel off the backing from the foam tape, pop this into place. And then of course I'm going to add a little bit of bling, as is tradition. I have these Trinity stamps, silver satin baubles to go with like the silver embossing and the little silver handle. Just kind of ties it all together. So sprinkle those onto the card front. I'm going to adhere them into place again with craft tacky glue. Once these are adhered, I'm going to pair this card with one of Simon's dark chocolate envelopes because, it just works. And that is going to complete this card. So as always, I'll have a link below the video to my blog post, and I'll have a supply list. I'll link to all the supplies I used. I'll link to the new release. And then at the end of this video on screen, you will see a link to that card that I mentioned earlier. And I'll link to my Spectrum Noir TriBlend playlist, all that, so that'll be linked at the end as well, if any of you are interested in checking it out. Thank you all so very much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping and commenting, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye!